No matter how hard OP tries, it seems like he's always getting friend-zoned by the women who interest him. Can you point out what he might be doing wrong?
It seems like almost every time I get close to a woman, we end up just being friends. And this has happened to me 3 times. And this is how each and every one of those scenarios went down. I met Jordan through a mutual friend, but over time, we became very close and started hanging out casually. Just me and her. At the time, she had a boyfriend, so while I always expressed how much I liked her, it was never in a romantic way. Fast forward a bit, and Jordan and her boyfriend are having problems, and she would sometimes come to me, and I'd let her know that it wasn't her fault, and that everything's going to be all right. Not long after their issues started, they broke up and we started spending more time with each other.
Oh, you sly dog! Woof woof!
And she said that while she really likes me and appreciates my company, she needs time to get over her breakup. By this time, though, it had been 3 weeks, but I respected her decision and we continued to hang out. 2 weeks later, on a Wednesday, Jordan would be on her lunch break, and normally she would call or text me, but this time, she did neither. I messaged her first and asked how things were going, but she didn't read my message until she got off work, which was 5 hours later. She finally messaged back saying, "Sorry I didn't message you back, I was with my boyfriend." I was obviously shocked. She never mentioned anything to me about dating again, but all I could do was message back saying it was okay, and congratulated her on her new boyfriend, but on the inside, I was very annoyed. I met Carly at a festival that my town does for a certain holiday. I thought she was a cool person to talk to, and she felt the same, so we decided to exchange numbers. After that, we talked almost every day for hours, but she also had a boyfriend. But at the time, they were on a break, according to her, so she would always talk to me about how she felt about her relationship. Sometimes she would tell me how she was thinking about talking things out with her boyfriend, and other times she'd say how she was considering breaking things off entirely.
This is it! This is my chance!
We talked every day, but suddenly there were more conversations about her wanting to end things with him, and sometimes it was all she could talk about. We started to do some friendly flirting, both over the phone and whenever we met up, and over time this became more frequent. Fast forward a bit, and this suddenly happened. On a Friday, I went out of town with my family for the weekend, but before I left, we talked and planned on going to see a movie the following Monday. On the Sunday night, I called to let her know I was back home and to talk about the movie we were going to see. But when I brought it up, she said, "Sorry, while you were gone, my boyfriend and I talked things out, and we're going to have dinner tomorrow. Rain check?" A part of me wonders if it wasn't a coincidence, but I try not to think about that. The last girl is Caitlin, and we met online through some of our mutual interests, and we always talked on the phone, whether it was texting or video calls. One day, I told her that I really liked her, and she said that she felt the same way. But because we were in different states, we didn't think anything could ever come of it. Anyway, we both agreed that whenever one of us was able to, we'd visit the other and have a weekend together. During this time, she told me how miserable she was at the job she was working and how she wanted to quit. After talking to her and encouraging her to stand up for herself, she left her job and started working at a much better place that pays more. Meanwhile, at the time, I was getting paid to be a caretaker for my grandma and was able to make enough to travel and visit Caitlin. When I let Caitlin know that I had enough and asked when a good time would be for her, she suddenly said it was probably best we don't meet up. She explained how she's been so focused on her work that she doesn't want a relationship at this point. I respected her decision and I let her know how proud I am of her as she's been doing amazing with the new job, but it still stings a little sometimes.
OP is exactly the type of guy I tend to warn people about. The type of person who'll lurk around someone who's in a relationship and wait for it to break down so they can take their shot. While it's unfortunate that OP's found himself in the friend zone a few times, the way he goes about doing things is probably why. He doesn't sound like someone who will be open and honest about what he wants, and instead wiggles his way into a woman's life as a friend and tries to switch things up at a later date. Anyway, let's see what some of the other Redditors had to say.
Volatile says, I didn't even need to read it all. It's clear as day. You have to make your romantic interest perfectly clear by asking girls out for drinks immediately. You shouldn't be spending time getting to know women who are in relationships if you want to have sex with them. Simple as that. If you do, they immediately put you in the zone because no sane man who has interest in them would do that, unless they genuinely just wanted to be friends. Jim's My Thee says, here are your problems. Number 1, you get the phone numbers of girls who already have boyfriends. Stop doing this. As soon as she says she has a boyfriend, you ask if she has any single friends who she'd be willing to set you up with. If she doesn't, drop off. Number 2, you wait too long to ask a girl out on a date. If she dodges the question and can't give you a straight answer, you drop off. Number 3, don't waste your time talking to girls who aren't local to you. Here is the last problem I see. You have very little actual dating experience. Try online dating and go out with any girl who will go out with you on a date. Ask her to coffee, lunch, dinner, or just drinks. Something. Anything.
I agree with these Redditors, and hopefully, OP will change his tactics when it comes to finding a woman who actually wants to be romantic with him. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Coffee and Popcorn, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.